Well, so the G7 and especially Europe may be ready to reject Russian energy imports, but is Joe Biden going to help them in transition? Here to talk about that and other things, Senator John Barrasso, Republican Conference Chairman. Senator Barrasso, as always, sir. So here's a moment where Biden is steadfast. He's blaming fossil fuel companies. You heard him today. Excess profits and this and that. He's going to raise their taxes. They don't pay their fair share, blah, blah, blah. But the Europeans, if they're going to get out from under Russia's energy boot, they need everything we can give them. I mean, I would say open the spigots, but he's not doing that, or I didn't hear that today. Tell me I'm wrong, please.
Well, a couple of things. Number one is we have all of the energy in the United States, and yet Joe Biden won't let us get it out of the ground. He's failed. The fundamental understanding of foreign policy is that we are much better off selling American energy to our friends than having to buy it from our enemies. Well, over the last year, Joe Biden has tried to buy it more from Russia, from Iran, from Venezuela. And this is just fundamentally wrong when we have so much abundant American energy. And what you saw today as a result of these policies of this administration, gasoline prices today, people woke up to find it the highest ever in the history of the United States.
So, Senator Barrasso, you heard the president's speech on inflation, undoubtedly. Did you hear any relief to fossil fuel companies, oil and gas production, pipelining, NEPA permitting? Did you hear anything that suggests there's a lesson learned, and not only domestically, high price of gasoline, but helping out the Europeans who are trying to help Ukraine? Did you hear anything? Did I miss something?
No, you didn't miss anything, Larry. I didn't hear anything from the president that actually made me believe that he understands the full pain that the American people are living under, to the point that they're at a breaking point. It's going to cost $5,200 this year more than last year just for a family in America, certainly home in Wyoming, to buy the gas, the groceries, all of the goods of their life. I mean, that's Joe Biden's inflation. And it's a complete mismanagement of the administration of this economy. So people are trapped in this nightmare of inflation. And we did not have a Harry Truman moment today of the buck stops here. President Biden wanted to blame this one, that one, and the next one. He went after Putin. Well, people were suffering a lot under this high Joe Biden inflation long before Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine.
Yeah, you know, that's so that's an important point, and we chronicled those numbers earlier in my riff. You know, Senator Barrasso, life doesn't have to be so complicated. If President Biden were willing to shift his spending and energy policies, I think not only would the guy help the U.S., he would help Europe, and I think politically he'd probably help himself and his party. But there never seems to be a reset. You know what I mean, Senator Barrasso? It's always, he comes into these speeches, his poll numbers get worse and worse. He's underwater by 2 to 1 in the latest Fox poll on inflation. Nothing ever changes, and I can't figure it, sir. In other words, politicians are supposed to be good at the political game, but not this one.
No, you're right. And for people at home, I mean, I see it in Wyoming, saw it this weekend at home. The grocery store, a woman had 2 plastic sacks with groceries. She said, you know, this just doesn't feel like it's a full $100 worth of groceries. At the gas station, somebody put $100 of gas into their truck. He said, you know, you just don't get to go as far as $100 as you used to before. So the cost is about $100 a week more that people are paying, and we're getting new inflation numbers tomorrow. I think it's still going to be a 40-year high. And a little earlier, you were talking about what percentage it is with energy and with food. Even if it's 8%, for people living all across the country, it feels a lot more like 20% inflation, especially if you're living on a fixed income or you have to work 2 jobs to keep up because your paychecks aren't keeping up with Joe Biden inflation.
Yeah, well, I'm just, you know, the surest sign of a virulent, widespread inflation is when all the prices are rising at the same time. In other words, you can take food and energy out of the index. That's a dumb thing to do, because that's what ordinary folks use. But I'm just saying, Senator, you can play that game, and the so-called core rate is booming. It's almost 7%. And, you know, it puts the lie to that. Senator, just before I lose you, I mean, it just seems to me, in this Ukraine war, where Biden is coming around, he's doing some things, providing military equipment and so forth. Better. I would say it's better. I think you would agree. But we're trying to help our European friends, and we'd like to help our own middle class. Why would you, not you, but the euphemistic you, why would the government of the administration put out, frankly, the most stringent, restrictive NEPA permitting rules on the environment we've ever seen? Which, by the way, ironically, Senator, as you probably know, not only will hurt all the fossils and the pipelines, but actually it's going to stop Green New Deal, and it's going to stop infrastructure stuff as well. Why would he do that? What's the logic in that? Because that, to me, is at the core of this problem.
To me, this is a president who is completely held hostage by the far left, the environmental extremists, the people that want to do things dramatically, unilaterally, immediately, no matter what the cost to the consumers. They are fixated on that. You have John Kerry with his smug superiority telling us if we were just as smart as he was, we would see the wisdom of their ways. This is an administration who has gone far off the rails, trying to take America to a place we are not. They are heading far to the left, and this inflation is going to cost them the House, cost them the Senate. We're going to take both back, and I'm going to be chairman of the Senate Energy Committee come next year, Larry.
Oh, amen. The cavalry's coming. I just love that. You know, Senator, you mentioned John Kerry. I don't think we should forgive his student loans. That was a joke. That was a joke. I'm just kidding, you know, trying to put some levity into a difficult conversation. But in all seriousness, what you're saying, in a way, I'm going to generalize, you know I love to, the progressive policy agenda has generated this out-of-control inflation, which in turn is doing great damage to the economy. I mean, it's really the progressive agenda on all fronts that's doing this. Give you the last word.
And it's not focusing on the things that the American people care about, which is their lives, raising their kids, going to work each day. Those are the things that the American people are focused on, and affordable energy, affordable food, all of the things, the quality of life of the American people. The president is ignoring it all.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Drill, drill, drill. Open the spigots. And sorry, Mr. Kerry, no student loan forgiveness. Senator Barrasso of Wyoming, not Wisconsin, Wyoming, thank you for coming back on the show, as always, sir. Up next.